As mentioned in passing, this is for property located at 632 Old Hickory Boulevard in the Madison community. Mr. Calvin Ross, the appellant, is with us today, as is his council member, Nancy Van Rees. Councilwoman Van Rees, we're happy to have you here today. This property is in the RS20 zoning district, so residential single family. Prior use at the subject property, this is a big aerial area, as you see, going back toward the left, which is westbound toward Interstate 65. East, further down to the right of the screen here, past the subject property, gets you closer to Madison proper. The photographs show the structure in question. This was used as an office most recently and was legally permitted as such, despite being in the RS zoning district. So it was treated as a legally non-conforming use. The request before you today is to change from one non-conforming use to another, specifically from office use to use as a barber shop and coffee shop. The view up and down Old Hickory is shown here. Now, forgive the formality. I take it there's no opposition present in the audience today. Seeing none, the appellant will have 10 minutes to make his desired presentation. Councilmember Van Rees, you are under no such time restrictions. As I told Councilman Pardue, you're welcome to regale us as long as you wish. Pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I know that it was a long afternoon, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness, and I welcome you back to something that's actually really, really great news. As the new council member in District 8, I think that I could single-handedly have run on an election just to bring a coffee shop to Madison. There are, if you can imagine, if you know the area very well, or if you can think about it, pretty much from Manor Avenue at Sip Cafe all the way to Rivergate, there is no coffee shop. If you think about Nashville and the development that has happened, it's usually by neighborhood. So when you think about Bongo Java, or you think about Frothy Monkey, or you think about these areas, it usually starts somehow with a coffee shop. I think there's something very interesting sociologically involved with that, because it provides a sense of community, a sense of place for people to gather. And I think that we're kind of witnessing that here today. It's actually an historic situation for me from a perspective of that nature. I think that it's something that the people of Madison and the central area around this area have been asking for a while. We talked about this earlier on when he first came to me. He's not only is assistant vice principal with the Metro Nashville Public School System, but is a successful entrepreneur and businessman, understands how to make a business plan, understands the community involvement in making sure that people are getting what they want and not just what he wants to do. He will tell the story about working with someone that wanted to have a classic barbershop, the old school classic cool chair barbershop, and wanted to find a place for this young man so that he could succeed. We had a conversation about the barbershop, and we also, at the same almost exact moment, realized that there were two entrances on this building, and hey, what about a coffee shop? So suddenly you're seeing before you, that's the reason why there's actually an opportunity not to just create one business, but two businesses that generate community and support. As soon as we heard of this and it got on the agenda, I talked to David McMurray, the current president of the Madison Rivergate Chamber of Commerce, who lends his support for this small business as well. In fact, we even took a picture at the BZA sign together with the applicant and posted it on the Madison Community Facebook page, which, as you know, is a little bit more active sometimes in the room behind me, right? So we had almost immediately, I would say within 45 minutes, 18 positive comments about making sure, like, when's this going to open? This sounds wonderful. I can't wait. Even, hey, will somebody build me a crosswalk so I can get across the street? So they're already anticipating great excitement on this. All that's really great as long as the people on either side of this building like the idea too. And so we started there and communicated with them by mail. He knocked on their doors and had opportunity to make sure that there was no opposition. So with that and with great excitement on behalf of the folks at District 8, and particularly within almost walking distance, if I would just walk a little bit further than I like to my home, I would strongly encourage you to approve this particular application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Lady. Floor is yours, sir.
All right.
I am actually Edward Gray. I'm representing Jet Productions, the actual owner of the building, located at 632 Old Hickory Boulevard. I reside in Madison. My address is 549 Pueblo Drive in Madison. Jet Productions is a sound and light company, so we purchased this property. It was actually Calvin is the young man that Councilmember Van Reese was referring to. He used to, as I coached basketball about 14, 15 years ago, I met this young man. His mother died over 8 years ago, so he's been staying with me ever since. He dream was to be a barber. He did that, graduated, became a barber, went to barber school, went to barber college, graduated, and he's been working hard ever since. So he continued to pass this building, and he asked me about it. And so we just did a lot of research, talked to Mr. Dennis Wright, the former owner of that location, and he told me a lot of history about the location, and he just told me to keep working hard at it. So that's a little bit about the history as far as the barbershop side, and that's how that came to fruition. The building is approximately about 1,800 square feet. The entrance in the front side would be the entrance of the coffee shop. It would utilize about 1,200 square feet, and the back entrance on the other side will house the barber shop, and that will be about 600 square feet, or a little bit less than 600 square feet, with 4 classic barber chairs, appointment only, and I think that's it. So I mean, it's a very simple concept, and I think it would benefit the community a lot. I'm also a co-founder of a nonprofit organization called The Future Beyond, and those are some of the things that we would like to incorporate. I actually began my teaching career at the Madison School when it was Madison Special Day School at that time. And so I'm familiar with that area. I've worked in that area, and now I actually live in that area. So I would be honored to have a business in that area also. So that's all I have.
What is presently or was just in that facility?
In that facility, nothing has, the building has sat vacant for, I think, about 3 years. Before that, a construction owner, I don't remember his name, used to own that. And he had, I think he was selling Amish stoves, but it was not done correctly. But the last actual business was Mr. Wright, when he had his law firm there. I'm not sure exactly when he stopped practicing.
I can speak to that a little bit. It was actually longer ago than that, and we can look up the actual date, but it was when Councilman Craddock was the councilman in that district, so that would have been a little bit further back than that. There was a gentleman who was selling some Amish fruits and vegetables and things, and Mr. Although that sounds kind of interesting, Mr. Craddock saw that it was improperly populated and shut that down. It has been vacant for as long as I can remember, and I've lived in this area for a very long time. One of the pictures where it showed where the sign, proof of the sign being up, you saw that there was an actual brick sign there where the law office used to be, and so even people just casually just driving down OHB would reasonably assume it's a vacant business.
Questions? Anything further to add?
I don't have anything yet.
We'll close the public hearing and open the discussion.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds to be a very favorable business enterprise. It has community support, or certainly no community opposition. We always love to see council people here in support. So that's my position if anybody wants further discussion.
I'll second all your thoughts.
I concur with that. Entertain a motion for,
I'll make a motion. This is going from one nonconforming use to another, so I think I would find that the conformity is greater than less with this use and its appropriate use for the location, and I move that we approve the request.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion for approval. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. So moved.
Case passes. Mr. King, I would note that we're in receipt of one email already from one of your fellow board members indicating that he has been watching the meeting and is pleased to participate next month, or at the next meeting, rather, at your next hearing. That concludes the BZA meeting for today, May 19th, 2016.
I'll tell these people here that I remember back in the old days, used to be a barber shop right down in the middle of Madison, Penny's Barbershop. This guy's name was Penny Nichols. Penny lived right across.
You have to drop a dime to get your haircut.
You're right. Penny lived almost across the street from where this is going, just down the street, so that was a small world. Thank you.
See y'all.